Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rahma Cahyani with students ID 222-322-0050 from class 3A. Will present about challenges among multilingual speakers of English. Now let's get started. So, multilingualism is the ability of an individual speakers or a community of speakers to communicate effectively in three or more languages. As David Crystal said, speaking two or more languages is the natural way of life for three-quarters of the human race. This principle has been obscured in parts of Europe as a consequence of colonial history. We urgently need to reassert it and to implement it in practical ways. For in the modern world, monolingualism is not a strength, but a handicap. Now, the first challenges among multilingual speakers is language proficiency. Multilingual speakers of English may not have the same level of proficiency in all the languages they speak. There are many factors that can affect this, such as age acquisition, amount of quality of exposure, and motivation and attitude. So, the first factor is age of acquisition. Age of acquisition refers to the age at which a person starts learning a language. Generally, earlier exposure to a language leads to higher proficiency, especially in terms of pronunciation and grammar. However, this does not mean that older learners cannot achieve high levels of proficiency in a language. The second one is amount of quality and exposure. It refers to the frequency and duration of contact with a language, as well as the variety and richness of the input and output opportunities. More exposure to a language usually results in higher proficiency, especially if the exposure is meaningful, authentic, and interactive. However, the quality of exposure may vary depending on the context, mode, and purpose of the communication. The third one is motivation and attitude. This means reasons and goals for learning a language, as well as the feelings and beliefs towards the language and its speakers. Higher motivation and positive attitude can enhance proficiency by increasing the learner's interest, effort, and persistence in learning a language. The second one is pronunciation and accent. Multilingual speakers often carry the pronunciation and intonation patterns of their native languages into their English speech. Different languages have different pronunciation and intonation patterns, which are influenced by various factors such as the sound system, the grammar, the culture, and the context of the communication. But sometimes this can lead to misunderstandings or difficulties in effective communication, especially if their accent is strong. Their accent may affect their intelligibility, which is the degree to which a listener can understand a speaker's speech. For example, if a speaker pronounces some consonants or vowels differently from the standard English pronunciation, of, or if they stress the wrong syllable or word in the sentence, the listener may have trouble recognizing or comprehending what they are saying. Their accent may affect their credibility as well, which is the degree to which a listener trusts or respects speaker's speech. For example, if a speaker has foreign accent that is associated with negative stereotypes or prejudice, the listener may judge them as less competent, less educated, less professional, or less friendly than a native speaker. Their accent may affect their identity, as we know, which is the degree to which a speaker feels comfortable or confident with with their speech. For example, if a speaker feels that their accent is not accepted or appreciated by others, they may experience low self-esteem, social anxiety, or linguistic discrimination. They also may try to modify or reduce their accent to fit in with others or to avoid communication problems. And it is important for multilingual speakers to be aware of their accent, that it may affect their communication in different situations and contexts. But it is also important for listeners to be open minded and to be respectful toward the speakers with different accents and to focus on the content and the purpose of their speech, rather focus on their pronunciation and accents. Okay, so the next one is language policy. Language policies are the decisions and actions taken by authorities or institutions to regulate, promote, or restrict the use of languages in a given context. Multilingual speakers of English may encounter language policies that favor or marginalize certain languages over others. For instance, some countries or regions may use English as the medium of instruction or the official language, which can limit the opportunities and resources for learning and using other languages. This can have negative impacts for multilingual speakers, such as loss of linguistic diversity and cultural identity, as we know that multilingual speakers may lose their connection to their native languages and cultures or face pressure to assimilate to the dominant culture. This can result in language shift, language endangerment, or language death. The second one is inequality and discrimination. When is imposed or expected over other languages, multilingual speakers may face barriers or disadvantages in accessing education, employment, healthcare, or public service. They may also encounter prejudice or hostility from monolingual speakers or authorities who view their languages as inferior, irrelevant, or threatening. Okay, next is language choice. Multilingual speakers of English may face difficulties in choosing which language to use in different contexts and with different speakers. They may have to consider the following factors, like the purpose of the communication, the topic of the communication, and the audience of the communication. The purpose of communication is the goal or intention of the speaker and the listener in a given situation. For example, a multilingual speaker may choose a language that is more suitable for expressing emotions, giving instruction, making jokes, or persuading others. The topic of communication refers to the subject matter or theme of the conversation. For example, a multilingual speaker may choose a language that is more relevant, appropriate, or familiar for discussing certain topics such as politics, religion, sports, or culture. The last is the audience of communication. It refers to the people who are involved or affected by the communication. For example, a multilingual speaker may choose a language that is more understandable, respectful, or inclusive for addressing different listeners, such as family members, friends, colleagues, strangers, or authority figures. Okay, so the next one is language interference. Multilingual speakers of English may experience language interference when they switch between languages or use more than one language at the same time. Language interference can have positive or negative effects on multilingual speakers' language learning and use. On the one hand, language interference can facilitate communication and creativity by allowing speakers to use their linguistic resources to express themselves effectively and efficiently. But on the other hand, language interference can prevent communication and accuracy by causing speakers to make mistakes and misunderstandings that affect their performance and perception. Okay, so the next one is language learning. One of the challenges that multilingual speakers face when they learn English is language learning, which involves acquiring or improving one's knowledge or skills in a language through various sources and activities. Multilingual speakers may have different learning styles, preferences, and strategies when they learn English. They may benefit from using their other languages as resources, such as translating, comparing, or transferring knowledge and skills. They may also need to develop metalinguistic awareness, which is the ability to reflect on and analyze language forms and functions. However, they may not always have access to appropriate materials, methods, or support that cater to their multilingual needs. For instance, some multilingual speakers may prefer visual, auditory, or kinesthetic modes of learning. Some may favor formal, informal, or blended settings of learning, and some may use cognitive, metacognitive, or social strategies of learning. Multilingual speakers may also benefit from using their other languages as resources when they learn English, such as translating words or sentences from one language to another, comparing grammatical or lexical features, or transferring knowledge or skills from one language to another. For example, a multilingual speaker who speaks French and English may use translation to learn new vocabulary, comparison to understand verb tenses, or transfer to apply reading comprehension strategies. Moreover, multilingual speakers may need to develop metalinguistic awareness when they learn English, which is the ability to reflect on and analyze language forms and function at different levels, such as sounds, words, sentences, or text. For example, multilingual speakers who speak Japanese and English may use metalinguistic awareness to notice the difference in word order, pronunciation, or punctuation between the two languages. However, multilingual speakers may not always have access to appropriate materials, methods, or support that cater to their multilingual needs and goals when they learn English. For instance, they may not find many books or websites that teach English from a multilingual perspective or that address the specific challenges that multilingual speakers face. They may not have many opportunities to practice English with native speaker or proficient speakers who can provide feedback or guidance, or they may not receive enough recognition or encouragement from their teachers, friends, or family who value their multilingualism. So the next one is confidence issues. Some multilingual speakers may lack confidence in their English abilities, which can prevent them to participate in social and professional settings. Fear of making mistakes or being judged may lead to reluctance to speak up or engage in conversation. Some multilingual speakers may have received criticism, correction, or mockery for their English pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, or accent from teachers, friends, or even strangers. And this can lower their self esteem and motivation and make them feel anxious or embarrassed when speaking English. Some multilingual speakers may have limited access to English speaking environments or communities where they can use and improve their English skills. They may also avoid or miss out on opportunities to practice English with others due to shyness, nervousness, or lack of interest. This can make them feel unprepared, rusty, or isolated when speaking English. Multilingual speakers can create or find opportunities to use and practice their English skills in various contexts and situations. They can join online or offline groups, clubs, or events that interest them and involve English communication. They can also read, watch, listen to, or produce English that appeals to them. And that is my presentations about challenges among multilingual speakers of English. And we have come to the conclusion of the presentation. So the conclusion is multilingual speakers may face challenges coming up from their diverse linguistic backgrounds. However, it's important to remember that if you face these challenges, doesn't mean that you cannot overcome it. Many multilingual individuals successfully navigate and adapt to the complexities of the English language. Through dedicated language learning, exposure, and practice, they often become effective and proficient communicators in English. And that I think that's enough from me. Thank you for listening and thank you for your great attention. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.